Alright, hey guys, today we're doing a new video in Adobe After Effects, and it's going to be on how to create these really cool Luma matte transitions. And you can create infinite possibilities and infinite different transitions, and all of them look really cool, and they take maybe 2 or 3 seconds to apply. So all you have to do is create Luma mattes, and then simply, if I want a different transition, I can drag it on top, try out different transitions. Maybe I want a different one, so I can drag this one on top and get a different transition. So there's all kinds of different ways that we can get these transitions, and it takes maybe 2 seconds. So again, very cool stuff, and it shouldn't take us too long. So let's jump into the tutorial. We're going to start off by creating a Luma matte. So to create a Luma matte, and I spelt it wrong, there is not 2 M's there, but basically we need to create 2 layers. We need to have that is not what we want. We want a dark layer, and so we're going to create a black layer, and we want a white layer. I'm just clicking everything. Alright, and we want a white layer. Nice. So we have our 2 layers. Make sure the white one is on top. And what we want to do is we want to transition, so eventually we're going to see the white layer. That's the end goal. Anything before that is completely up to you. So really quickly, I'll go over how I created those staircase transitions and the ones similar to that. And the way you do that is using the rectangle tool, which is up here. And if you can't see it, just press and hold and then select the rectangle tool. And now jump into the corner, and we're going to pull out I'm going to choose around 1/3 of the screen, but it's completely up to you how big you want your rectangle to be. And once I have that set up, I'm going to duplicate the mask. On the second mask, make sure you have this selected, and we're going to double click the corner so all of our mask points are highlighted. Now I can position it as much as I want. So I'll just drag that over right about there, and one more time we're going to duplicate, double click, drag across, and that's about good. You can always use your arrow keys for more precise movement, and again, it doesn't look too balanced because a bit of this is cut off, so we have this cut off. And what we can do is select all of ours, and we can double click and drag it across. So this looks more balanced. They all look more around the same size, and we're going to leave that there. And we're going to start animating it. So select your first mask. Actually, we're going to set keyframes on all of them for mask path. Keyframe for mask path, and we're going to keyframe mask path. Now with all of them selected, I'm going to hit U on my keyboard, and that's going to show all of our keyframes. And what we want to happen is we want to grab all of our keyframes and drag them, pull them out to maybe 1.25 seconds. And then right at the beginning, we're going to set a bunch of new keyframes, and we're going to work with the movement of these shapes. So I want them to be alternating, so mask 1 and 3, I want to move upward, and mask 2, I want to move downward. So I'm going to drag it in the order, so mask 1 and mask 3 I'm going to highlight. Now I'm going to double click and see if I can drag only those 2 up. So I'm going to move it up a little bit and then hold down Shift on your keyboard. So that's going to lock it into position and allow me to move it up without it jumping all over the place. So we're going to pull that all the way up. And then we have mask 2. So we're going to double click that and move it a bit. Oops, moved it a bit too much actually. And then hold down Shift so it doesn't jump around. And boom. Good. So that gives us the basic part of the transition. Now really quickly, I can grab all of these, keyframe assistant, easy ease, and put them back in their original order. So we have 1, 2, 3, and I can stagger them if I want. Really, you can do whatever you want with the transition. So maybe I'll stagger and have it going like that. That looks pretty cool. And now that we have created this Luma matte, we can jump into our original location. And now just go into your compositions, find Luma mat, and we put, actually, why are there two Luma mats? Why do we have two of them? Okay, did I spell them both wrong? Okay, so I think this is the one we're working in. So again, in our original composition, I'm going to grab the Luma mat we just created, drag it into our composition that has the footage, and I'm just going to clip it over using the square brackets, shut off viewing it, and we should be able to see our transition, which looks pretty cool, looks pretty clean. Sorry about my dog. Anyway, so we have that transition, which is pretty cool. I'm going to do one more really quick example, and then we should be good to go. So this is going to be a stroke transition. And the way that we're going to do this is we're going to start off with, again, a white solid and a black solid. So let's drag that to the bottom. Okay. Make sure your white one is on top. We are going to find stroke in our effects and presets, and we are also going to create a quick little mask. Let's hope my hands don't shake too much. I'm gonna get Alright, so again, we're creating just, you can do whatever sort of pattern you feel like. Nice little Alright, that looks pretty good. Now with our white solid, we're going to add stroke. So under generate stroke, drag and drop that into our solid. Again, it should be set to your mask. And we want to set paint style to on transparent. And then we can just crank up that brush size, really crank it up so it fills up our entire screen. Alright, and then we are going to keyframe it. So I'm going to set end to 0. Keyframe end, hit U on your keyboard, drag it across, again around 1 second. Set another keyframe, and this one we are going to crank end all the way up. I'm going to go here, right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease, and we have this sort of paint stroke effect. It is a little fast, so again we can always pull that out a little bit. Then if you want to add a little bit of texture to it, that's why we have roughen edges. So you can drag drop that again into our white solid, give us a little bit of texture. Again, you can play with all of this, really get some cool looking effects, maybe crank up the complexity a bit, and crank up the border. Fractal influence. Okay, I feel like, okay. Oh, there is, okay. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know too much about roughen edges, but again, it gives us that nice texture and a little bit of fractal effect on the edges, which is nice. And then I'm going to just scale this up so we can get rid of that border that we don't really want. And got a nice little textured stroke effect, just like that. Looks pretty good. Again, what's nice about this is once you have it set up one time, it's really easy to use this for any project, any composition. You can just reuse it. So again, we're going to grab our stroke transition, pull it on the top, and deselect viewing it, and clip it over to where the rest of our transitions are. So we get that nice little paint stroke transition, which is really neat and really cool. So again, I just wanted to make sure you understood how Luma mats work. Once you create it once, you can use it in any sort of situation. Again, make sure your Luma mat is at the top. It should always be at the top, and your footage should be underneath it. and the footage directly beneath your transition should be set to Luma inverted matte. And if you can't find that, then make sure you hit toggle switches / modes. That's going to show you where your track matte is, where you can switch that to Luma inverted matte. And that's how you create the transitions. Again, you can do some really neat stuff. And if you guys want to see more transitions, be sure to like and subscribe.